not a bad secret.
That's right. They even offer a private function room and venue for special occasions.
Join the fun at Legends.
I saw scripted too, though, so. Yeah, I'm gonna go cool off.
Howdy, partner. It's time for me to tell you about a place you need to know about. The Duke, Kitchen and Spirits, 1839 Smith Street, North Providence, Rhode Island. Great barbecue, great atmosphere, great drinks. Call today for reservations and more info at 401-349-3012. That's 401-349-3012. The area's newest home for barbecue, good drinks, and that western flavor of the crate is the Duke. North Providence, Rhode Island's newest gem, 1839 Smith Street, is the Duke, Kitchen and Spirits. The legend lives on.
CES MMA is back in Rhode Island at Twin River Casino on July 26th with a star-studded lineup headlined by world champion Greg Rebello as he puts his belt on the line against Kevin Daly, also on the card, Chris Martinez, Reyes de Solo, Dylan Lockhart, Brandon Moreau, and more. Tickets are on sale at CESMMA.com.
What's up, Yarrison? White boy in the house. Gringo in the house. You guys, please share this. This is history right here. This is another historical first for Demand the Truth. Only here. You only see this here.
Everything we can to meet your expectations. Licensed and insured in all of New England. Econ Electrical Contractors offers competitive quotes for residential and commercial work. Call Econ Electrical Contractors 401-297-1844. For service upgrades, call 401-297-1844. For pools, spas, PV modules, and more, call 401-297-1844. Check out econelectrical.net, leading the trade in quality workmanship. Econ Electrical Contractors. No job is too big or too small. Call today for a free estimate. 401-297-1844. Improve or upgrade the electrical work in your home or business safely, affordably, and as always, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Econ Electrical Contractors. 401-297-1844.
Inspire the inner graphic artist in you. Everyone can become a professional designer with PhotoJet's graphic design tool. Whenever you feel inspired, you can always create awesome designs with massive templates from posters, flyers, cards, and invitations. PhotoJet meets all your needs to create graphic designs, make collages, and edit photos.
Thank you for sharing. Everybody, please share this video. I'm being censored anyways. This is going to be a historic first, so check this out.
Even without any experience, powerful design and editing tools enable you to achieve high-quality results quickly without any hassles, all for free. That's right, free at photojet.com. No download or registration required, effortless and time-saving. Design like a pro today at photojet.com.
This is 990WBOB.com, the home of internet entertainment. From Rhode Island to the world, 990WBOB.com. 990WBOB.com is an independent free media company.
I think I just seen Max, by the way. I could be mistaken.
Good evening, and welcome to Demand the Truth. An hour in time designed to educate, expose injustice, and inspire action. Here is your host, Mr. Will Turbot.
That's right, everybody. I am back here on Demand the Truth. Second time around. It's been over a year since I've been here on Renegade Radio. That's 990WBOB.com. You can check out all my past casts there. Interviews with former neuropsychologists, CIA whistleblowers, MIT scholars, TED authors, and much, much more. And on my own channel, I brought you a historical first, which was, we did a docu-series, myself and Josh Friedman, as well as Adam Fitzgerald, where we discussed the current geopolitical situation. We talked about the left, we talked about the right, we talked about America where Trump is, we talked about the far-right extremists, the far-left extremists, and for the first time in history, ever, you guys can go to YouTube/Demand the Truth and check this out. I had a sit-down interview with a member of Resist Marxism, as well pardon me, smacking the mic around, as well as a member of Antifa. I had them sit down peacefully and talk. And today you're going to get another historical first. You will not see this anywhere else in the world. We have the first ever live interview with one of the organizers of the Straight Pride event, as well as, because you guys know I'm nonpartisan, I'm peaceful, and I use the Socratic method. Those are the three things it takes to be a part of Demand the Truth. Anybody can join, and once you do not adhere to those three things, you're sucked out of Demand the Truth because you suck. We're nonpartisan, we're peaceful, and we use the Socratic method. So today, I'm just basically going to be a moderator. So in about 10-15 minutes here, we're going to have one of my good friends, Jeffrey Branch, although he said never to say that we're actually friends in real life on live TV. But guess what? Ha ha ha, I can't take that back. He's probably going to disfriend me, but just kidding. Do the interview. And another one of my friends, Samson Rachapi. Now, I don't agree with everything that these gentlemen said, but these gentlemen are both activists in their own right, and they're both willing to talk on polar opposite of the extremes together. So we're going to get historical first. Not only are you going to get the first ever live interview with the organizer, one of the organizers of the Straight Pride Parade, we're also going to get to hear him debate his ideas alongside an LGBTQ advocate. And I'm going to chime in too. You guys know darn well I'm going to chime in too. But before we get there, and before they call in, I have so much stuff to get into. Cheese and crackers. Where do I start? Alright, let's start with some local stuff. Let's start with some stuff that's crazy. Alright, I'm going to jump into one thing that I don't have an article for. You know, I'm going to skip that. I'm going to go to next week. We're going to wait till next week. We're going to get an article for that. Because I get so much articles. Why not just show you the stuff that I have? So, Seth Magaziner, you guys know he's a Secretary of the Treasury. He's a treasurer here in Rhode Island. And the New York Times had reported that this dude, I think I may have saw you on Webster Ave. If not, it was a lookalike or a doppelganger map. I'm not sure. But, but so anyways, so thanks to Alan Gordon and Am Armstrong for providing me with this information. They were like, oh, you didn't hear about Epstein's connection to Rhode Island? I was like, what the heck are you talking about? Now, Seth Magaziner, he's the treasurer here in the state of Rhode Island. This is from his official website. I printed this out. And it talks about how he's donated and financed and fundraised by President Clinton here. And I already knew that he worked for the Clinton Foundation and he mismanaged money there. So I kept that in the back of my mind. You guys know I've been going through everybody in Rhode Island and doing dossiers on them, the state reps. I've been confronting them politely. I've been asking them questions. I've been documenting them. I've been talking about Gina Raimondo. By the way, if you guys didn't see the video that I did, while Providence schools are in shambles, while Rhode Island is ranked 50th and has always been in the bottom 5 for business by CNBC since they started doing it, O'Lore's is out in Hawaii. Gina Raimondo's at a meeting of the super elite out in the Sun Valley Conference with the heads of Facebook, the heads of Disney, all these elite corporations. If you guys want to see more evidence for that, go back on my Facebook and my YouTube channel and check that out. I also really want to say thank you very, 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 very much to my Patreon subs. I pay out of my pocket every week to do this show. I just put an envelope in there with some money. And I pay out of my own pocket. And I work. And I live paycheck to paycheck. Full disclosure. So my goal is to quit my job. Right now I have 6 patrons for $61 a month. If I can get up to $2,000 or even $1,500 a month, I will quit my job and do this full time. It costs me at least $100 to $125 out of my pocket a month just to do this show. But I think it's that important that I do it because people need to understand what's going on. So, Seth Magaziner, he's chilling. And this is from Go Local Prov. And I want to give a little bit of credit to Go Local Prov. I don't love everything that they do, but they're they're leaps and bounds better than the local stuff that we got here. And this was reproduced in Forbes, but I printed it out under Go Local Prov because they deserve the credit here. WikiLeaks. Ira Magaziner asked Podesta for donation to his son Seth. And in this article here, it talks about how Ira Magaziner also works for the Clinton Foundation. I'm a joke, huh, John? After everything I did. Just kidding. So, you got Ira Magaziner, who was a Rhodes Scholar. The Rhodes Scholarship was set up by Cecil Rhodes and the Rothschilds on record. Anybody can go read Tragedy and Hope. People think, oh, you're a Rhodes Scholar, that means you're super smart. False. If you're a Rhodes Scholar, that means you were, it's literally in writing. It's literally in writing in Tragedy and Hope. It's in the Rothschilds' 5th or 7th will. I don't recall exactly off the top of my head. And what do they say? It's to create the one world under the British imperialist view. And we have Ira Magaziner, the father who works for the Clintons. His son is a treasurer of Rhode Island. You got Bill Clinton, who's a Rhodes Scholar, and Gina Raimondo, who's a Rhodes Scholar. All members of the Council on Foreign Relations. Aspen Institute. And now she's hanging out with these elite people. And now she's asking John Spirit Cooking Podesta. Do y'all know what spirit cooking is? Do you guys know what spirit cooking is? It's a real thing. I'm going to leave you with that for now. So that's just one little thing. I'm going to do some more research onto that. Please share this video. Please, please, please share this video. Thank you so much to the people that are supporting me on Patreon as well, too. I could not do this without you guys. Gonna go over a few more articles here. Oh, can't read it too well. I guess I can if I put it that close. No, I can't read too backwards. How Seville, this is Jimmy Seville, seduced the royals. It's claimed he nearly became godfather to Harry. How the predatory DJ wormed his way into the very heart of palace life. Well, what are you talking about, Will? Who is Jimmy Seville? Jimmy Seville is now dead. And hello, Marco. Thank you very much for sharing. Jimmy Seville. Yes, and I will do that. Jimmy Seville is a confirmed pedophile who raped hundreds of children. He even had his own wing, a DJ out in the UK. He had his own wing of a children's hospital that would go in and rape kids. And he's like this with the royal family. Don't believe me? I'm going to show you. So, oh, look at this one. This is all mainstream news. I'm not printing anything out from anything that's not mainstream, by the way. Jimmy Savile and Prince Charles' very close relationship with sex abuse Bishop Peter Ball. So you got Prince Charles, Jimmy Savile, confirmed pedophile, raping hundreds of children, hanging out with another sex abuse bishop, Peter Ball. These are the people that run our world. Oh, but look, it's okay. It's okay, though, because the news, they warm it all up. Prince Charles' friendship with pedophile clergyman was misguided. It was misguided. I guess his friendship with Jimmy Savile was misguided, too. Jimmy Savile scandal reaches Prince Charles. Then you got Jeffrey Epstein, who I told you about years ago. Now it's in the news. I told you guys about this on Demand the Truth years ago. Freaking years ago I told you about Jeffrey Epstein and the fight logs. Now you got Kamala Harris. She's criticizing these people. Harris campaigned this from the Hill, accept money from the partners of the law firm she criticized over the Epstein case. So, Demand the Truth has not been on the air in over a year. And look at all these articles. You think I don't got enough articles to connect all these things? But I'm just going to say, you know what? I'm going to get into these articles later. I'm going to do some live videos on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and all, MySpace, all that. But guess what? Guess what, boys and girls? I told you so again. I told you years ago, and everybody laughed at me. Now, who's laughing now? I don't get one damn apology from anybody. Not one person has apologized to me. Not one. I told you that the world's elite, I'm talking about years and years and years ago. I'm talking about the Clintons, the Bushes. I'm talking about the royal family. I'm talking about the Vatican. I'm talking about Epstein. I've been talking about all these people on record for years. No apology. No thank you. No nothing. So what is really happening? Do I really need an apology? No. We're going to break on the other side. We're going to have a historic will first. What I do need, though, is not an apology, but I need you all to understand. The royal family of England, is like this. Like this. Up to their frickin' ears in pedophilia. Prince Andrew, Prince Charles, hanging out with pedophile bishops, pedophile priests, and pedophile DJs. Then you got the head of the Speaker of the House over here. You've got so many pedophiles in the U.S. government, it's coming out of our ears. You got DynCorp, child trafficking, and I told you. And now years later, it's coming true. So please go to Patreon, support me. If you can throw me $5 a month, $1 a month, if I can get to $1,500 or $2,000, I will quit my job as a waiter and I will do this full time. And thank you so much to Dale. Thank you so much to Lisa. Thank you to Wendy. Thank you to Kevin. Thank you to LJ. I know there's another one that's supporting me out there, Brandon Kilgore, and sharing. And if you don't have money, I get it, because I don't have money like that either. But share the video. And if you hate the way that I look, that's great. You go to 990wbob.com, you go to the Passcast. You don't have to look at my face, and you can see all the interviews there with the most legitimate, credentialed people and the most non-debatable empirical evidence you could ever find. And you go back 2 years and listen, and I freaking told you so. I told you these people were doing this. Come back on the other side, and we are going to have a historical first straight pride organizer, first ever live interview, but also a debate from my friend, LGBTQ advocate, both my friends. Debate live, Demand the Truth, share, Patreon/Demand the Truth, YouTube/Demand the Truth, 990wbob.com, Renegade Radio. Stay tuned. My hair is fine. Last week you should have seen it. It was completely shaved. My thing was shaved. I almost shaved my eyebrows too. It looked like I would have jumped out the pod in the Matrix. I was like, Morpheus. I want to get fired? If I had no eyebrows? I would just say that I had a Britney moment. What could they say? What could they say to that? Yeah, no, I would just say I fell asleep, somebody pulled a prank and shaved half my eyebrow, and I just shaved the whole thing to make it even. I don't know, I probably would get fired. That's probably not good. I don't want to get fired until I have enough Patreon subscribers so I can quit. And you guys all know that I work for you. If you can afford $1 a month, $5 a month, $1 a month is $12 a year. Go to YouTube/Demand the Truth. Go to Patreon/Demand the Truth. And subscribe to me. And it doesn't make a difference what I look like. You know, if you guys hate my voice, you guys hate the way I put the information, great. I don't give a damn. I got articles up the wazoo, up the yin-yang here. All mainstream articles. The only thing is, they put it there, but they don't put it in the news cycle. So, this should be a historic first. And guess what? You don't see this on NBC. You know, Pat Crowley, the guy from NEARI. Pardon me. I'm an idiot.
How about that? Have a dialogue instead of name. Stop being ridiculous. The important issues of the day. It just doesn't happen. People have
Samson, what's your last name?
wake up. Can I say that?
How do you spell your last name?
That's the Rotunda. Every Monday on 990wbob.com.
Can someone type in Samson's last name?
Tune in to
I think it's this.
990
So we'll see.
WBOB, source of wild nerd news and entertainment. Magic Michael Fox and me, History. We're here to keep you up to date on your favorite games, music, and we cover something for everyone. From
Okay.
shooters, comic books, and even generals. That's right.
Okay.
Even and sometimes
And we got one of our guests in line where it looks like we're going to have the other one any minute here. Samson, if you're listening, call in, please.
So if you love video games, all things nerd, tune in to
I'm not even listening to the headphones here.
990wbob.com.
Put the headphones on, huh? Oh, sweet. We have them both? Oh, you're the best, Lori. Thank you. Oh, man. Lori's the best. All right, everybody, we are back. As promised, we were supposed to have this last week. It could not happen. Thank you to everybody sharing this information. Go to 990wbob.com, listen live, share the live feeds. You can go all through my past casts, see all the credentialed, the non-debatable, the empirical evidence. We've had people from the CIA, people from MIT, people from TED Talks, people that have 4 degrees from MIT on the show. And guess what? We're going to have CIA whistleblower, award-winning whistleblower, best-selling author John Kiriakou live on the show next week. So please inbox me or actually comment on this video any questions that you have for him. He's amazing. But without further ado, and thank you very much to Lori on the technical side of things, making sure everything runs so swimmingly here. I believe we have Samson Rachapi as well as Jeffrey Branch on the line. I'm going to start with Samson. Samson, are you there with me?
I'm here with you. How are you all doing tonight? Can you hear me okay?
I think we can, yeah. Speak right into that mic and you should be good. And so, Samson, let's talk about this. I've known you for a while. You're an activist. I'm going to give you the floor first. I would like you to start by introducing yourself, maybe saying a little bit about yourself, take as much time as you need, and then talk about the straight pride thing, and then I will give Jeffrey a chance to retort.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I'm not going to really lay out a full case. I'd like to have a productive discussion. My name is Samson Rachapi. I'm the grassroots organizer of Super Happy Fun America. We're now incorporated. We have registered as a 501c4 nonprofit with the state of Massachusetts, and it appears that our application has been approved for that. So we are an official nonprofit organization. It started out, well, let me talk about myself real quick. I've been involved in the free speech activism myself since about 2014, when I had I had an incident that affected my life. And then in 2017, I realized how bad things were in 2014. Just seeing the way that the media was lying to us about every single thing. You know, it was always this false duality, and it was always framing somebody as the bad guy, right? And I recognized how bad the propaganda was.
Sure. So what? And if that's you, Jeffrey, or somebody with that background, if you just want to mute up in the meantime until it's your turn to talk, Samson, please tell me what. Samson, please tell me what inspired you to do this march.
Well, I'm still with you here, right?
Yes, you are. Go ahead.
Okay. So we've been doing these free speech movements in the Boston area for years now, and the media never talks about it, right? We have literal people wearing masks, using violence, carrying communist flags, and they're getting cover from both the media, the local governments, the cities and towns, and we're just a bunch of people who believe in the Bill of Rights, the Constitution. A lot of us are veterans who have served in overseas conflicts, and, you know, we're sick of it. And what happened this year was John Hugo and Mars Fahady, the president and vice president of Super Happy Fun America, they were chatting about how this particular year, Boston City Hall had approved the LGBT flag to be flown, along with the American flag and whatever other, the flag of Massachusetts, out front of Boston City Hall. And they just kind of like, I don't know, they submitted an application to fly the straight pride flag out front of Boston City Hall, just to kind of see if Boston afforded the same accommodations to every single group, because that's heterosexuality is a sexual orientation, and they just kind of figured that Boston City Hall would go along with it, right? Why would that be an unreasonable thing? And when Boston City Hall got back and they denied it, they realized that not only was there probably some sort of legal battle to be had there, right, with the Boston City Hall, because that seems pretty discriminatory if you ask me, but they also realized that, hey, if they're not going to fly the flag, then let's try to go ahead and see if they approve a parade, and go ahead and you know, push back a little bit against what Boston was doing to us. It was just the two of them at this point. And they asked me to get involved kind of early, and I'll be honest with you, when I heard that they were planning a straight pride parade, I cringed. And it's not because of the message, but it was because I knew what type of reaction that was going to create from the opposition. And when they explained it to me, how, you know, we do truly, you know, we believe in diversity, and we believe in equality, and we believe in tolerating the viewpoints of others, right? and they said, well, we're going to use all the same language that the left uses when they're forwarding their agenda, and we're going to see what happens. And lo and behold, you see what happened. We've been attacked relentlessly. The View has talked about it. Captain America has talked about it. But that's not it. It's not just the media making a big deal about this. We've had suspicious packages mailed to us.
So let's get into that. I'm going to pause you right there. I'm going to get into that, and I'm going to allow Jeffrey some time to chart. Before I do that, I just want to let you guys know this is 990WBOB.com. This is an original program brought to you by Econ Electrical Services for all your electrical needs, from repairs to installs. Rhode Island's most trusted name is Econ Electrical Services with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. You know you're getting the best for your residential and commercial projects. Call today at 401-297-1844. That's 401-297-1844 for Econ Electrical. And we're going to go to break in about a minute or so. So, Jeff, are you there with me?
I'm here.
Okay, great. So you got about 2 minutes. Do you want to give a 2-minute kind of retort to what's going on? I'll give you some more time after the break.
Yeah, so I think I'll use
or
my
just
2
an
minutes.
introduction then, or however you'd like to use it.
Yeah, I'll use my 2 minutes to introduce myself, and I'll also introduce the premise and my perspective generally that I'm trying to offer in this conversation. My name is Jeffrey Branch, and I am a karma yogi and a political activist operating in the Greater Providence area. I've been involved in several activist movements throughout New England, both with Black Lives Matter, also with some progressive groups throughout the state. I am not a member of Antifa, but I am in support of the anti-fascist movements throughout the states that we're seeing, especially growing over these last few years, as we've seen an uptick in hate crimes and bigotry and xenophobic violence on the rise, both from the man in the White House all the way down to people on the ground here, common everyday people like me and Samson. I'm coming to this conversation because I need to make it clear immediately that I don't actually believe that the so-called straight pride parade should be barred or should be illegal. I completely agree that these organizers have the right to have this event, to hold this event.
All right, well, I'm going to cut you off right there. I'm going to come back, and the other side is completely yours, and you're watching a historic first on Demand the Truth. Straight pride activist organizer live and a debate with an LGBTQ advocate, only here on Renegade Radio. Demand the Truth, 990WBOB.com. We'll be right back. Please share the video and go to Patreon.com/Demand the Truth. Thank you. Guys watching on Facebook, how is the audio for the guests? Can anybody give me a comment, a thumbs up if the audio is good? Thumbs down if it's bad, or a comment either way on the audio. Anybody watching, please let me know how the audio is translating for you guys. Thank you, Yebs.
Play some cornhole or relax with friends. That's Buttonwoods Brewery, 530 Wellington Avenue in Cranston, or at buttonwoodsbrewery.com.
It is your boy, JJVOA, a.k.a. the Voice of America, with my co-host, Fun Bobby, in the house. Leave the poor guy alone. 77 years old. He's widowed. And I saw her face. I'm a believer. Don't know if I can continue on watching this cat lick its ass the whole show. I want to talk about Lindsay Lohan's show. Have you watched that? The Beach Club, Lohan's Beach Club?
Oh no, I thought she was having a reoccurring show.
Okay, I'm gonna turn the guest up for you then.
It's just, we live in a world now where if you fought at somebody, you're gonna get arrested. The show took a sideways turn, went off the rails on the crazy train.
It's the Voice of America, 990 WBOB.
Hi, this is Big Freakin' Lou, resident fat guy of 990WBOB.com. I want to tell you about my new favorite place to grab a bite to eat in Rhode Island. Sweet D's Cafe and Cupcakery, home of delicious, from-scratch, all-natural ingredients, sandwiches, salads, and breakfast favorites. But the best things are the desserts. Cakes, brownies,
how can you contact me on
best
air? I'm going to open up the phone lines for people, maybe at the end of the show, but I definitely want these guys to be able to completely articulate their views here, because this is history right here. And yes, I cannot like what Lisa said enough. Thank you for both guests being open to discuss your views in respect of others. This is awesome.
Hi, I'm Michelle Klein. We make all of our leather goods here by hand.
I got some spicy memes. Instagram, Demand the Truth. I'm on Twitter at Will_Turbitt, TURBITT. YouTube /Demand the Truth. Patreon, Demand the Truth. Mines, I'm on Mines.
So that's really great.
So check me out. I'll follow you back.
Is my love for design and wanting to make a product that anyone could use. I like the idea of being my own boss.
Go to Weebly.com today and make your dream big.
John, stay tuned. Maybe I'll open up the lines in the last segment or so.
Classic experts in Fall River, Massachusetts will be any offer guarantee, any condition, no title, no problem. Nationwide pickup, and they'll even pay $1,000 for referrals. Send your classic car photos to sales at
guys, if you can't donate $1 a month, that's cool. Please go to this video and share it. Please go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. And if you're interested in doing something to help research, or just being a body, or creating your own community group, inbox me. Might not get back to you this next second, but I will get back to you.
990WBOB.com.
All right, everyone, we are back. Historical first here. First ever live interview with one of the organizers of the Straight Pride Parade, as well as a counter and retort, a count and counterpoint. We're not talking about Jane, you ignorant slut. No, we're talking about real discussion, real debate. So before the break, I was letting both of my guests kind of give you the debriefing, introduce themselves somewhat, and I let Samson tell you about himself, and also I let him kind of talk about his impetus, his reasoning for creating this. Jeff, what is your take on these guys making a straight pride parade? What is your take on that?
Great. So I just wanted to start again by saying that I don't believe that, I do believe that it is completely within Samson and the other organizers' rights to hold this event. So I need to make that very clear before our discussion begins. That I think it is their right to hold the event. The problem that I have is that I believe that the so-called Straight Pride Parade is innately anti-LGBTQIA because it creates a false equivalency between the struggles of the LGBTQ plus community and the heterosexual community. And it also seeks to erase the history and context of why we have pride in the first place. So I actually take issue with the event because I feel that it is an offensive event that is both an erasure and a mockery of LGBTQIA plus history. And that is actually the basis of my coming into this discussion today, is to try to unpack in a peaceful, centered way with Samson here why this event is problematic, why it's offensive, and the harm that it does to the greater community, while also maintaining that he has every right to organize such an event, but I have every right to oppose it, and I will be there when the event happens in opposition of this event.
Thank you, and also thank you to, like I said, both of you guys. I'm tremendously honored and humbled to know, and that's the great thing about Demand the Truth, because we're nonpartisan, we use the Socratic method, and we're peaceful. We're able to be cool and be friendly with both sides of things. Samson, what say you? What say you to Jeffrey's probably legitimate claim, like, hey, you're just mocking people that have been, gay people that have been marginalized for so long, and this is like a slap in the face to these gay people. Oh, gay people have had to have pride because they've been marginalized and abused. And what do you say to the people like Jeffrey that say you're just making a complete mockery out of that?
Oh, sure. Well, I just want to say that our event is very much not anti-LGBT in any way. It is a pro-straight parade. And as an example, Jeffrey, you mentioned that you volunteer with Black Lives Matter and other progressive groups throughout the state. I'm also involved in all sorts of different types of activism. And the analogy I like to use is, for example, when Black Lives Matter go out and they advocate and they protest, and they do their thing on behalf of the African American community, it is not at the expense of any other activism or any other community when they do so. When during the entire month of June, during Pride Month, which I actually turned out for the events in Boston for in June, where like literally hundreds of thousands of people celebrate Pride. That's an event of any other community. They're not going out there and thumbing it in the face of heterosexuals or any other community. Yet when we go out and we create this event, for some reason we have to justify it in some way as if we are at the expense of the LGBT community. People say, much, much worse things of us. I don't want to repeat them here if you're not saying them. I do appreciate that you're saying that you support our right to do this. That's a huge thing. I'd like to ask you, when you are going to turn out and protest us, are you looking to obstruct the parade, or is the fact that
I'm going to interrupt you for 1 sec, Samson, because I like the train of thought that you were going with earlier. You were saying that you shouldn't have to answer to anybody. You just want to do this. Jeff, what do you say to that? And then you can answer Samson's question.
Sure. So what I would say, I actually want to say a couple of things. First, I completely deny and disagree that this event that Samson and these others are organizing is not innately anti-LGBTQIA. I understand why he says that, because he himself is saying that he is not anti-LGBTQIA, but I would just like to refer to John Hugo. The actual original idea was born with John Hugo, and I would like to point to his words when he ran for the Attorney General position. When he was running for Attorney General, he said about the LGBTQIA plus community, quote, "They're bringing cross-dressers into kindergarten," end quote. Quote, "They want to commingle the bathrooms now," end quote. Quote, "They want 12-year-old kids to shower together," end quote. Quote, "We need to start pushing back. They tell children that you don't have to be a boy or a girl, that there are 72 genders. It's scientifically stupid." So when you have John Hugo, the original creator, who, as Samson kind of glossed over, when he saw the LGBTQIA flag being lifted by the state of Boston, in honor, may we note, of the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall riots, which were the beginning and the origin of LGBTQIA pride, when John Hugo saw that flag raised, instead of seeing that there was a marginalized community that now had mainstream representation and was being acknowledged by the state of Boston after many, many, many decades of struggle, violence, and oppression, he, instead of celebrating that moment, decided to use that moment as a way to now hoist some sort of alleged need for a heterosexual pride, which to me is very problematic, because heterosexual people are the dominant group in society. And as we've seen historically, dominant groups in society, be they Christian, be they white, be they heterosexual, do not need representation and advocacy in the same, and visibility in the same way that marginalized groups do.
I want you to end
I think that that's very important, and I'll definitely give Samson.
Yeah, no, I like what you're saying right there, especially that last point. Samson, what say you to that?
Well, I mean, so just to back up to some of John's points there, I think that it's perfectly legitimate for there to be discussion about whether 72 genders is a legitimate thing, and that's a perfectly that's a new thing for society, right? The other thing is you're right. 96% of people, men and women, this is a statistic that I've come across, identify as heterosexual. Yet there seems to be a very big agenda in grade school to teach all of the kids all of these innate differences when it comes to sexuality and gender, to the point where young people who are going through this and seeing all these confusing terms, they end up very confused about themselves. And all that we're doing is we're standing up and saying it's perfectly natural for you to identify as heterosexual, just like if anybody else identifies as gay or trans. We're not trying to take that away from anybody, but we want to assure people that heterosexuality and traditional values are still a thing, and that by standing up and defending these things, it's not at the expense of anybody else.
All right, Jeff. So, Jeff, yeah, what do you say to that? What do you think? Do you think that, traditional values are under attack? Look, no, I don't think anybody here is in particular love with traditional values, but what do you say to the 72 genders? What do you say to the sexual confusion of kids in the schools? What do you say to what he's saying right there? Do you think it's legitimate or no?
I'd say a couple of things. First, I would say, I've just been trying to explain that although Samson and his organizing friends as heterosexual cisgendered men do not understand how it could be perceived as anti-LGBTQIA, I want to try to explain that, first of all, 72 genders. There's a lot of talk about gender and gender as a spectrum within our community. And this is actually, you say it's new, Samson, but it's not new, because I actually I'm a practicing Hindu. And if you could mute yourself, Samson, for just a second, I think I'm getting some feedback. But I'm a practicing Hindu, and in Hinduism, in our scriptures, which are the oldest recorded spiritual scriptures on the planet, in the Vedas and in the Agamas, there's actually, the Vedic society had 32 gender distinctions and 26 sexual orientations. So I think it's important to note when we're talking about gender, when we're talking about something that's as expansive as gender and sexuality, that throughout history, these things have been malleable, and these things have been definitely taught before now. So it's not like all of a sudden we've decided there's 72 genders. It's that for a long time in ancient history, gender was seen as something much more of a spectrum, and we now have a binary system where everyone is forced to identify as one or the other. So what you're seeing now is you're seeing our community flowering and people expressing their true authentic selves, and then letting other people know in the world that is okay and that exists. When you say that you're not anti-LGBTQ, I take issue with that, because when you say things like you said, Samson, quote, I realized how much of an opportunity this was to ignite, quote, the civil rights movement in this country. We're embracing the language of the left and we're weaponizing it. We're doing it in a funny way. Quotes like that are very problematic to me for a couple of reasons. One, the civil rights movement in this country already exists. The civil rights movement in this country of marginalized people has existed for many, many decades. So you aren't igniting a civil rights movement because there is not a need for a civil rights movement.
We very much are.
Oh, you're definitely igniting a political war and a political conversation. Yeah.
You know what? You go and create a free speech movement. You go create a rally and you say, I'm going to defend free speech, and you're going to have a whole bunch of people show up looking to shut you down using violence. That tells me, anytime somebody shows up to use violence against you for doing something peaceful, that tells me that you're standing up for something worth defending. And that's what we're doing, is we're standing up for something worth defending.
But Samson,
all right, hold on. I'm gonna break up real quick, Jeff. Jeff, I'm gonna give you the chance to retort, because that also reflects on something a few of our listeners here are asking me to ask about. First of all, I've got a couple questions for Jeff, and I'm going to give you the floor right here to retort to that, because I think what he said is very, very important, and I want to unpack that after, but I want to give you the chance. But I want to break in really quick right here and say, do both of you guys unequivocally denounce violence except for self-defense?
So I personally denounce all violence, and one of my problems, not problems, but one of the things that I took issue with when coming into this conversation was that, I've seen Samson out at different rallies and stuff in Providence. I've seen him out in the community, and so when you're out in the community and you're acting in a very aggressive way, or when you're wearing shirts that say sometimes violence is the answer, I feel like you're talking out of two sides of your mouth when you say that you're a pacifist.
Samson, what's your retort? What's your retort to that? Wearing signs? Have you worn that shirt?
You're out of your mind. That's a popular veteran shirt that says sometimes violence is the answer. It has a mathematical equation on the back that breaks down into the letters VIOLENCE. It's a pun based off of math, and that it's very popular in the veterans community. I denounce using violence, except in the case of self-defense. I train regularly with martial arts, and I'm very disciplined about when I use any sort of physical interactions with myself. If you've ever seen me putting my hands on somebody, you can bet that I'm defending myself or somebody around me from imminent physical violence.
All right, I'm gonna jump in again. I'm gonna jump in again.
Violence isn't just physical. Violence is also can be perpetrated through our languaging. Violence can be perpetrated through our actions. It's not just physical.
And that's what's crazy about the left, is they want to say just by us showing up, that's an act of violence against the community, and that justifies them.
All right, hold on one sec. I want to get what Jeff is saying is very important, and I want to get Jeff back onto that, and then Samson, you can retort. But I want to jump in with one other thing. Do you guys support pedophilia in any sort? Because people are asking me whether you're straight or gay. Does that involve people under the age of consent? This question's a yes or no to both of you guys quickly, and we'll continue with that.
I'll let Samson answer first.
Unequivocally, no. I don't.
Okay, that's fine. And yourself, Jeff?
I do not support pedophilia.
Okay.
But I definitely take issue with Samson saying that he doesn't choose, since he chose Milo as their Grand Marshal.
Wow, and you know what, Jeff? You've done a lot of great research here. Jeff, we got 2 minutes to break again. We're gonna have our final segment coming up after that. Jeff, continue with your point about that you were making before I interrupted, and then Samson, you will get the floor when we get back.
I was just gonna say that you can't really call yourself, say that you're unequivocally not for pedophilia and are against it when you choose someone like Milo to be your Grand Marshal, who has said things like, quote, "We get hung up on this sort of child abuse to the point where we're policing consensual adults," end quote. Quote, "In the homosexual world, particularly some of those relationships between younger boys and older men, the sort of coming-of-age relationships, older men help those young boys discover who they are and give them security and safety and provide love for them and a sort of stability that didn't come
All right,
from
I'm going to cut you off. Sorry, Jeff, we're going to break. I believe that was on the Joe Rogan show. I have heard him talking about that. We're going to come back with the organizer of the Straight Pride's retort to the LGBTQIA advocate. Historical first here on Renegade Radio. You're listening to 990WBOB.com. Go to YouTube/Demand the Truth. Give me a sub. Go to Patreon. Give me $1 a month. I'm not getting paid by Big Pharma or Monsanto or the CFR or the CIA to tell you lies. I'm telling it straight as it is, working paycheck to paycheck to give you the real truth about the pedophilia in the government and the incredible wars. Stay tuned. Final segment, Demand the Truth.
Latest sensation in local craft brews. Buttonwood's Brewery, located in Cranston, Rhode Island, at 530 Wellington Ave, focuses on
alrighty then. Simple, this is pretty dope, right? This is exceeding my expectations. These guys are awesome, well-spoken, well-researched. I got a little tough questions from both, and you know what? See if I'll have them both on sit-down interview, maybe. Maybe we'll do that. Next week, John Kiriakou, award-winning CIA whistleblower. He blew a whistle on the U.S. having torture. The only person that went to jail was the person that blew the whistle on torture, him, not the people that ordered or did the torturing. We're going to talk about the deep state, the real deep state. We're going to talk about child trafficking. We're going to talk about what's going on right now. Lisa, thank you. Lisa, you're hooking me up.
That's 401-349-3012. The area's newest home
no,
barbecue, good drinks, and that Western flavor you've been craving.
That Western flavor. This is the best commercial on B.O.B.
Island's newest gin, 1839
Smith Street.
Spirits. The legend lives on.
I'm going there, dogs.
CES MMA is back in Raleigh at Twin River Casino on July 26th with a star-studded lineup.
Ooh, pride comes before the fall, a pun. Mixtap.com.
Tickets are on sale at CESMMA.com. CES 57, July 26th at Twin River Casino.
Like what you're hearing? Have a business or website you'd like to promote? 990 WBOB offers a terrific marketing plan at a fraction of the cost for terrestrial advertising. Heard
read, and followed by over 30,000 consumers in the southern New England market alone, 990WBOB.com is your surefire, cost-effective way to increase your business or web traffic. Let us help your bottom line without crushing your budget. Email your friend in marketing at pal@990WBOB.com. That's PAL at 990WBOB.com. And let us help you get the word out. 990WBOB.com. Since 2007, marketing to the masses.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance, reminding you that when you adopt a shelter pet,
thank you guys very much for sharing this video. If you have $1, go to YouTube/Demand the Truth. Follow me there, and then go to YouTube. Sorry, Patreon/Demand the Truth. Hook me up.
Hi,
I'm going to quit my job and work for you guys.
Hello, yes,
my Patreon subs,
Tyler Salk.
you guys get first priority.
Tyler Salk. Salk. Can I get a drink of water, guys? Tyler. Salutations. I am Tyler. Cut. I don't like that. Let me try this again. Hello, I am Tyler Salk.
Tune in each week for a new episode of The Tyler Salk Show. Sports commentary with an ego.
Well, we are back. Unfortunately, it's the final segment. I need to do a 9-hour show because I just gotta say, like, you guys are making better points than I thought and better points to the retorts, and this is awesome. You guys are well researched. You guys are going back and forth. You guys aren't throwing punches. You guys are awesome. So, first, before we get into the final segment right here, unfortunately, I'm only going to let you guys be able to speak once more before we have to wrap this up. However, I would like to invite the both of you guys to a neutral location, if you're willing. I mean, I can't guarantee anybody's safety. I'm not God. But I would love for us to meet at a neutral location, do it behind the scenes. I know Samson's done this with Antifa once before, and maybe have a sit-down interview and continue to hash this out. Anyways, Jeff was speaking. I'll allow Jeff to pick it up before that. And Jeff, take your time to finish that point, and then any final points you want to make. We will definitely continue this as long as you're willing. And then we'll give Samson the final retort, and I'm going to give my 2 cents here at the end. Go ahead, Jeff.
Sure. So thank you again for the opportunity to come on, and I'll just, I want to put a button on the point I was making before the break and then give a final point. The point that I was making is that for the alleged straight pride organizers to be choosing Milo Yiannopoulos as their grand marshal is the most telling thing of all, because they've chosen someone who was recently banned from entering Australia for making Islamophobic remarks after the Christchurch shooting. He equates pedophilia and the LGBTQIA individuals, which is completely problematic and wrong, to answer your question from earlier. Homosexuality, lesbianism, bisexuality, pansexuality, none of that involves children. It involves consenting adults. So the idea that we would pick someone who would link and equate pedophilia with the LGBTQIA community is problematic at best and extremely offensive at worst. And I'll just conclude by saying that this parade doesn't need to exist. Samson, his friends, are not under siege or being oppressed. I've heard Samson use the oppressed majority as a way to describe him and his friends. And the reality is, the systems of oppression in this country are not oppressing Samson in the way that they are LGBTQIA people. According to Pew Research, hate crimes based on sexual orientation went up 5% in 2017. At least 29 trans people were murdered in 2017, according to the FBI, and that's just what's documented. In 2019, so far, 8 trans people have already been murdered, and 3 trans women of color have been murdered in Dallas already this year in one single city. And we still have, in 30 states, LGBTQIA people can be fired, denied medical services, or evicted from their homes because of their sexual orientation. So when you start to unpack the struggles that the LGBTQ community is still facing to this moment, and then you have a group of heterosexual men who come and say that they want to have their parade and their sexuality celebrated. Well, I have something to say to you, Samson, which is that every day is straight pride. Like, every day in our culture is heterosexuality. You said earlier that it's okay. You want kids to know it's okay to be heterosexual. Guess what? They know. Society has programmed us through the visibility and telling us the stories of heterosexual people since our birth. It's the visibility for trans people, queer people, gender non-binary people, people of color, immigrants, religious minorities. These are groups in our country that are truly, truly poor people, that are truly facing oppression. And so when you have a group of people who are so privileged, who are so bolstered by and supported by society, come along and feign oppression and seek to erase the history and context for why we have Pride in the first place, which I would be remiss to leave the show without saying. Pride began in Stonewall in 1969 when trans women of color started a riot to fight back against the police who were forcing LGBTQ people underground at that time. And to this day, even to 2019, we're still seeing violence against our community. Specifically, since Trump has taken office, we've seen an uptick in that violence. And for things like this to be going on with this straight pride, it creates these false equivalencies and these ideas of oppression that do not exist, and then erase actual oppressed groups and people in the process. It's harmful and it's violent. And I do completely detest this idea. And I will be standing against this.
Thank you very much for what you said, Jeff. You're very articulate, a very good sponsor of your side. Sorry I had to kind of jump in there and cut you off. Samson, if you want to give your last point here in retort to that and any other things that you want to say, please do. And then I'm going to give my last 2 cents. And then hopefully I can get you guys, talk to you guys behind the scenes, and we'll do a sit-down interview if that's possible. But Samson, last points.
Well, I have a lot to say about this, actually. This is, Jeffrey just kind of proved the example why we have to have these parades. Because while we're here talking about why we need to celebrate heterosexuality, he goes on to talk about all these other oppressed groups as if we are personally the oppressors. And he uses the term cisgendered heterosexual as if it's a pejorative term.
That's what you are.
Hold on, I did not interrupt you. And then you went on to speak about how hate crimes have gone up in the past year against all these different groups, and somehow insinuated that it's because of cisgendered heterosexual people like myself who are just standing up and speaking out on behalf of our issues. Now let me tell you something. We have a lot of LGBT people who are standing up and speaking out on our behalf. They're going to be standing with us in Boston on
Samson,
August
I'm sorry. I love you guys both. Thank you for being great advocates for both sides. Hopefully we can continue this. We're ending the show right now.
About Milo. I really got to make a point about Milo.
Quickly, make it 30 seconds, please.
That he suffered at the hands of clergy when he made those comments. Anybody else, if he was on the left, he would have received cover. But because he's a conservative, he was attacked.
Sure. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. This was awesome. I'm sorry, but I have to go. I don't want to, but I have to go. I just want to let us know we need to stop letting the elites order and chaos with each other. I'm glad we could talk about this on both sides. We need to come together and go against the real enemy. That's the Bilderberg Group, the Council on Foreign Relations. Samson, thank you so much. Jeffrey, thank you so much. I don't care if you're straight. I don't care if you're gay. If you're not me or my wife, which I don't have, or kids, don't talk to them about sex. Stay away from them. That's a conversation between a parent and adult. Thank you guys both for denouncing violence and pedophilia. Love you both. I'll be in touch with you after the show. This was a historic first. Stay tuned next week. John Kiriakou, CIA whistleblower, 990WBOB.com, Renegade Radio. Thanks, guys.